A mom reported to police that her children vanished from their room, and they haven't been seen since. Their mother has been pleading for their safe return as the search continues. We're taking you through what police say happened, plus where the investigation stands now after the young kids haven't been seen in months. This is Inside the Crime presented by Law&Crime. I'm Elizabeth Millner. Hey, by the way, there's a reason Law&Crime is the go-to spot for true crime content. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest personal injury law firm. They have over 1,000 attorneys and they've recovered $25 billion from more than 500,000 clients. In the past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just $350,000. And in Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million, 40 times the insurer's offer. Morgan & Morgan makes it so easy to fight for what you deserve, you can even start a claim from your phone. So if you're injured, start a claim at forthepeople.com/insidethecrime, click the link below, or scan the QR code on your screen. This case has captured international attention. How do a 6- and a 4-year-old just disappear for months? Was it random? Was it someone inside the home? Did these two just wander off? All those possibilities are being explored, making their disappearance that much more mysterious. Jack and Lilly Sullivan were just the sweetest little children according to their mom. She posted this on Facebook just last week on October 13th. As a mother, I love my children more than life itself and feel so heartbroken not being able to hold my 2 children, Lilly and Jack, kiss them, breathe in their scent, or tuck them into bed, dress them, wake up to their sweet smiling faces. The longing I have for them to come back home to me is a greater feeling than I could ever imagine feeling or put into words how I am feeling. There is not one single day, minute, or second that goes by that I'm not thinking about my children. I walk into a store and all I see is things they love that I want to get for them when they come home. The candy they like, the clothes they wear, the toys they love, all I see is them. I just so desperately want them home safe and sound back into my arms where I'll never let them go. I'm truly traumatized not being able to hear the sweet sounds of their voices, their laugh when they would sing a Gabby's Dolls song house that now only makes me cry when I hear it because all I hear is Lilly and Jack singing along. Not being able to breathe in their scent when I embrace them tightly, I don't want these moments to be memories. I want my babies home, my Lily, May, and Jackie. The pure pain I suffer of just not knowing where they are has impacted my life and my family in the most devastating way. Life feels extremely hard to keep going. With no answers, it is just pure lostness, like I can no longer feel at home anymore. No matter how lost I feel, I have not given up hope that my children will be returned home to me safe and sound. I have all the faith and hope I will see them again. 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack have been missing since May of this year. According to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the two were last seen on May 2nd in Nova Scotia. Jack and Lilly's mom told police that on that morning, she and her husband were in bed with their baby Meadow, but they could hear Lilly and Jack playing in the kitchen. Lilly even reportedly peeped her head in multiple times to look in their bedroom. But then suddenly, the kids were gone. Their stepfather Daniel went to check on them, but no sign of them. Their boots were gone, and so was Lily's backpack. On that same day, police got a 911 call that the siblings wandered from their home. Police spent the first week of their disappearance scouring the woods near their home, but still no signs of Jack or Lilly. According to a May report by Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or CBC, police called off the search as they fear the worst. RCMP Staff Sergeant Curtis McKinnon said in a May 7th press conference, "If we thought they were alive right now, we'd still be out there." RCMP confirmed an underwater recovery team searched the lakes, but no evidence was uncovered. Jack and Lily's stepdad, Daniel Martel, believed that the siblings slipped out of the sliding door back when Daniel and the children's mom, Malehya, were in their bedroom with their 1-year-old daughter. Other theories have swirled since. One neighbor reportedly heard a car going back and forth near the home in the middle of the night before they disappeared. The neighbor said his home was elevated from Jack and Lily's home, so he could see the vehicle lights from over the treetops. Court documents viewed by CBC say he said the vehicle left 3 or 4 hours after midnight and into the early hours of the morning. He said the vehicle would drive off in the distance and he could hear it stop and then return. He said it remained in earshot the entire time. Another neighbor reportedly told investigators on May 17th he heard a vehicle near Highway 289 turn around by railroad tracks near an intersection close to Jack and Lily's home. That neighbor spoke with the other neighbor, saying that the car he saw was Daniel's. But police said there was no evidence like surveillance video, so the witness statements couldn't be proven. In the department's most recent update from October 21st, a spokesperson told the Canadian press that police found, quote, no evidence of any vehicle activity at that time. As such, no driver has been identified, and the presence of a vehicle has not been substantiated as a key element in the investigation. Earlier this month, the Northeast Nova RCMP Major Crimes Unit took their search up a notch. This is what they had to say in their October 8th update. In September, Inspector Luke Reddy and his police dog Narc, as well as Sergeant Dave Whalen and his police dog Kit, searched for Lilly and Jack in Lansdowne Station, covering a total of 40 kilometers. The team specially trained in detecting human remains searched at the property from which the children went missing, along the pipeline and intersecting trails, and in an area where a pink blanket was previously found, all locations where there was the highest probability of finding the children. However, the teams did not locate any remains. The dogs are highly trained to detect and indicate the scent of human remains. Therefore, if the dogs did not alert their handlers, it suggests dogs were never in the presence of human remains odor. However, this does not definitively rule out the presence of remains in the areas that were searched. It means either the odor is there and couldn't be detected, or the odor isn't there. According to Staff Sergeant Rob McCannon, the acting officer in charge, he said the investigation is still ongoing. In a statement saying, each piece of information includes the results from the search teams, helps inform our next steps. With support from agencies across Canada, the investigative team is working to validate or eliminate leads and follow the evidence wherever it takes us. At this stage, and as we said all along, we're considering all possibilities. We'll keep going until we determine with certainty the circumstances of the children's disappearance and their found. Lilly and Jack's mom, Malehya, is still urging for help to find them. She wrote this to the Find Lilly and Jack Sullivan Facebook page. To know the sweet boy will turn 5 years old next week is devastating. Jack Sullivan still remains missing alongside his big sister Lily Mae Sullivan, and they both need to be found. 178 days missing. They are both beyond missed. A birthday should be filled with balloons, cake and presents, music, celebration, and fun. But this year it'll be filled with such heartache. Please note a candlelight vigil will take place for Jack's 5th birthday on Wednesday, 29th October 2025 at Stellarton RCMP Detachment. The vigil will be a quiet, respectful moment for the community to come together for Jack and Lily. I'm joined now by private investigator Ashton Pack. Ashton, thank you so much for joining me. Now, Jack and Lily Sullivan have been missing for 6 months now. Where do you think the search goes from here? I mean, they're just 4 and 6 years old.
Yeah, it's a really tough case, and my heart breaks for these children. And unfortunately, after almost a quarter century in law enforcement before I retired, the cynic in me unfortunately feels those children. I'm just afraid they're no longer alive. I hope they are. I really hope that the RCMP up in Canada can really bring them home. There's always the possibility that they are still alive and out there. But as time goes on, we just understand from previous cases and the nature of these kind of incidents that the longer the time frame extends from the time that they were reported missing, it's just the odds of them coming home alive just increasingly shrink. So my heart breaks for those kids.
Yeah, and my heart does too, because I mean, they're just 6 and 4 years old. I can't emphasize that enough. And my thought also goes to their stepfather's kind of reaction in a way about what's kind of happened to Jack and Lily, that they wandered out of the home. Their boots were gone, Lily's backpack was gone. But do you buy that with what we know right now?
Well, I mean, it's a rural part of Canada.
Mhm.
May, not exactly a snowy season in Canada. Maybe it was a nice day for the kids to go outside. But as a father myself who raised, 3 children from very young ages on, you just kind of know where your kids are at. So
Mhm.
I just think it's a kind of an odd statement to say that they just wandered off
Mhm.
and nobody knew about it. It's a possibility. I don't know if it's a probability of what's the actual truth.
And what do you think the probability is that they were abducted?
There's a chance that they were abducted. I mean, you can't rule that out. Right now, I know RCMP is treating it as a missing persons case. That might just be a strategic move for Canadian law enforcement, where the rules might be a little different, keeping it non-criminal at this point to kind of maybe bypass some rules and procedures that they have in their court system. I'm not really sure on that, and I'm no expert in Canadian law, but
Mhm.
at this point, I feel like, the longer we get away from the time of missing, the more chances that there's some kind of foul play going on here. Is an abduction a possibility? Some kind of a trafficking incident? Absolutely, it's a possibility.
So, Ashton, I'm also curious your thoughts on why the cadaver dogs haven't been able to find any traces of human remains.
Well, cadaver dogs are good at doing one thing, finding human remains. And if the human remains aren't there, then that checks that box. I mean, you can bring in cadaver dogs early, and I think that was a very wise move because God forbid these kids got out and were exposed to the elements. I mean, it is again, I don't know what the weather was like in May in Nova Scotia, but you are pretty far above up in the northern hemisphere. So if there was some kind of they wandered off and God forbid something happened to them or they passed in the elements, then the cadaver dogs would have been able to absolutely ping on that scent of those children that were missing.
And how difficult is it to search like a very rural and wooded area as it is kind of near where Jack and Lily were living around or still kind of living around this time? But in terms of just searching for searching for them in this very rural area, what is it like to kind of do that?
Yeah, that area, my most of my law enforcement career was in the Mojave Desert here in Las Vegas. But yeah, I was law enforcement in a Lake Tahoe area where it was very wooded and very dense. And yeah, those searches we had to conduct several, and it's that is such a heavily wooded area that without utilizing multiple air assets, potential drone technology, volunteers, people who could come in and set up that grid search and start to conduct a massive search. Again, these are 4 and 5 year old children, 6 year old children. How far can they really get in all reality without a neighbor seeing something, passing motorist spotting something happening? Just doesn't really this doesn't really sit well with me. But yeah, the grid searches in those kinds of areas very difficult because it is just so heavily wooded, massive amounts of wildlife up there from predators to just everyday, animals that roam that area.
Mhm.
So it's a tough one up there.
That's what makes this case all that more mysterious. And just going back to what you had mentioned just about the neighbors possibly seeing or even hearing things, I believe like two neighbors claim that they heard a car going back and forth around the time that they disappeared, but police say that they were unable to verify that. What are your thoughts on that, especially since we're in 2025, especially since we have a lot of digital evidence like surveillance video, all of that sort, but it seems like from what police are saying, this particular area didn't have a lot of video surveillance footage.
Yeah, this is a very rural part of the world. There is not like in cities where we have cameras on every corner, multiple neighbors with multiple ring or home video surveillance systems. I personally think that the it's just a tough play. Eyewitness testimony. You have a neighbor who says, "I thought I heard a car." How reliable can we really treat that? We've seen time and time again the science behind eyewitness testimony,
Mm.
and this is when people say they are watching it firsthand, where it can be unreliable in a court of law. What did I hear last night at 2 o'clock in the morning when I was up, checking the doors? I don't know what I heard. I can't really, the brain will fill in some gaps. Sometimes people think they hear things and all of a sudden it becomes true in their mind.
Mhm.
At this point in the investigation, I would think that law enforcement is now going to be, they're really going to be relying heavily on the computers, the phones of the stepdad, the mom, and the people in that house. What kind of digital footprint did they have? What was their Google search looking like? And these are all things that will be happening behind the scenes by the investigators. And of course, none of that will be made public because they have to maintain the integrity of this criminal investigation.
Yeah, which makes it all the more tough because I know that people just want the answers, right? And I know that police are looking into bank records, video surveillance where they can find it, GPS tracking, text messages. And I know that's going to be very important in a case like this, but there are still no new leads after 6 months. Are you pretty surprised by that?
Yeah, that's pretty shocking because you would usually be able to get a search warrant for the home, the computers, the digital devices, even the cars. The cars today all have computers in them. Everything is downloadable, everything can be extracted, and its data can be analyzed by law enforcement. So I am pretty surprised that there's been no real advancements in this case.
Yeah. And both Lily and Jack's mom and their stepfather have reportedly been cooperating with police. But in your opinion, and I hate to kind of pose this question to you like this, do you think that they had anything to do with their disappearance? I know it's easy for true crime watchers and people who are kind of, in the police world to kind of believe that something inside the house might have been the motive here. But what do you think?
Well, I learned one thing in my time as a law enforcement officer is just you never assume
Mm,
because you can think it's the stepdad, you can think it's this, it's that, it's human
yeah.
trafficking, some wolves got the kid. You just don't know. until you run the investigation as hard as you can run it, as fast as you can run it while maintaining integrity of the case. I have gone into cases in my lifetime, even now in my private investigation work with clients. I'm sometimes so surprised with what I end up finding to what we thought we were going to find. So I just never want to assume that. Plus, it just doesn't maintain integrity of the case to make a presumption. Let these people have their presumptions of innocence. I know there's a ton of red flags, but sometimes, we've seen red flags. If there's red flags and we think that there's something not right, let the law enforcement officers put the pieces together. You can have the information right, or you can have it right now, but you can never have both.
Right, exactly. And I know that it's easy to jump to conclusions, and I hope that, Jack and Lily are able to make it very home safe. And I would hate to think that something terrible had happened to them. But again, no arrests have been made. The parents have not been named as suspects or anything like that. So we'll have to wait to see how this continues to play out. Ashton Pack, I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Have a great day.
The Nova Scotia RCMP continues their investigation into what happened to Lilly and Jack Sullivan. A reward is being offered for information about their disappearance. That does it for this episode. Be sure to check out more episodes on the Law&Crime YouTube channel. But for now, I'm Elizabeth Millner, and this is Inside the Crime.